Greeting, traveler.
I have no time for games.
The end is coming! Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
You require my assistance? Addio! We're gonna be rich.
I have no time for games.
Inferno! You require my assistance? Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tavern Talk. Obviously, I generally have a pretty big intro ready for us, but I don't feel like beating around the bush tonight. I feel like let's just get right to it. It's Wednesday. We've got ourselves a fantastic lineup, some fantastic discussions ready for tonight. But let's get right into it. Starting off, of course, I am your host, JR Juggerlaw, and we've got my two regular co-hosts with me. First off, the Master OP, the man who is not part doctor, but most likely part fish. Say hello to Dr. Fish.
Hi everybody, I'm back again. Sorry you guys have to put up with me so much this week.
I mean, that's nothing but a good thing, let's be honest with ourselves.
I guess.
Next up, we've got, of course, our newest recruit, who is learning the in and outs of THL, including how to kick some major ass. Say hello to Geranium Battle.
Hello. Yes, I am very glad to be in THL now. Although you're mentioning me kicking butt, but I definitely don't kick as much butt as the other person that we have on the show.
Yeah. I mean that's a challenge right there. I feel like that's a call out of some kind.
I just want to point out I'm not talking about JR when I say someone who kicks more butt.
I know.
Yeah, I don't want your ego to grow even larger.
Wow.
Oh,
The implication that
man.
I even have an ego for that matter. I would say name one time, but he could probably name 5 times right off the top of his head. So we'll let that one slide. No, of course he's talking about our special guest tonight. He is a very welcome member of our community. I honestly wish I knew more about him, but I hear nothing but good things. Please say hello to Pace.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on the show. I am super excited to be here. Uh, THO has been a super cool experience for me, way more fun than ladder. So let's go.
I mean, we'll just chalk you up under the people who might not be playing Hearthstone anymore if THL was not a thing.
Yep, probably.
I mean, I know I'm on that list. That's for sure. Well, we're very happy to have you tonight, and we're very happy to get your input on some of these matches. Now, just to clear up, you are tell everybody what series you're playing in right now.
So the only series that I play in is Wild. It is my first season. I am on a team called the Pog Merchants, captained by Diamond, and I would say we are a very strong team. We are, I think, in 5th place right now, tied for 4th, and we're looking to make the playoffs and possibly win it all.
I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good stuff. Do you have any interest in playing in the standard series, or are you most likely just going to stick to Wild?
I probably would have interest if I had like any standard cards, but my collection is really only limited to Wild right now. So maybe in the
Interesting.
future I'll grow out of it, but for now it's gonna be Wild.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, either way, I'm sure you'll have some very good hot takes or questionable hot takes. Because if you have any questionable hot takes, well, let's be honest, you'll just fit right in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of our thing at this point. Very questionable hot takes. I mean, who do you think I am? One of the much more, one of the much smarter and more qualified people to make hot takes like Ridiculous Hat or Ron Mexico or Two Star Mako?
Yeah, we're not
Because
we're not quite
that's just
around.
not me.
We're not quite around the saloon.
My
Nope.
entire aura is being unqualified, so I'm very ready to give
Let's
hot take.
let's go.
But yeah, you've seen our cast for tonight. You should be ready for what's in store. I know I'm ready. I don't know about you guys, but I am certainly ready. So let's get right to it. So we're gonna start off talking about Legacy.
Legacy.
Legacy is obviously shaping up pretty interestingly right now. We are officially past the halfway point of Legacy. We've got we're in week 6. We're in the back half of the season, 4 weeks remaining, and we've got ourselves some pretty interesting standings right now. Very close. The bye situation is making things very intriguing, I gotta say, because there are a bunch of teams that are pretty ahead of the game but haven't had their buys yet, and then there are several teams that are kind of behind, that are doing well for themselves, but also have had their buys already. So it's kind of hard to see how this is going to shape up. I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. So we'll start off with the match I picked, which of course is two of the bigger teams right now that are at the top of the Gold Conference. I'm of course talking about a Noyo team versus the Hot Zilfs. A Noyo team is going through a very interesting period right now. They've got 2 subs this week in the form of Molstar and Damon. Remind me I didn't check beforehand. Who are they subbing for specifically?
So Molstar is subbing for RoboCats, and Damon is subbing for Nice Jewish Owl or Milo.
Ah, that's what I figured. Okay, I figured one of those was a Nice Jewish Owl.
Yes.
So that's actually pretty fitting replacement. I gotta say, because I think Molstar and RoboCats, didn't they like? Well, I guess they kind of come from the same circle, right? As far as like that Tonk circle of sorts.
I wouldn't call it the Tonk circle. I would actually um, say it's a shared circle. I know a
Fair
team
enough.
and Tonk. But yeah, Molstar comes from sort of the same Discord servers and Tespa and that sort of competitive area.
All right, all right. And then we've got Damon, who I know nothing about. I think. Does anybody know anything about him?
Oh, I know a lot about him.
Of course
He's
you do.
actually Nice Jewish Owl's roommate. So
That's pretty
Um,
great.
yeah. Every single time that Damon and Nice Jewish Owl face, Milo, Nice Jewish Owl wins. So I think this is maybe um, a lower point in the Noyo team's 3 seed this season, but I think the Damon does still definitely have a chance.
I would say it's probably going to be an exciting match. I'm still very excited for these two teams to face each other. Zilfs are obviously they're back as we've kind of discussed. They're basically the same team. The only change that they've made recently was Jammies replaced Robobson,
Yeah.
but like that's basically taking one Titan and replacing him with another. So like both of those players fit right in on this team. So I'm not surprised at all that the Zilfs are back to kicking some serious. But Jammies being 4-0 is damn impressive. I'm amazed that he's gotten up to the 550 PR range now. That is pretty nuts. I definitely envy the guy. I would like to be at that point, a 550 PR in the 2 seed.
Yeah, Jammies had a rough season last season.
Yeah,
And this season he's completely bounced back. He's not lost a match. Back to up to 550.
seriously.
And meanwhile we have obviously Coles going up against Molestar subbing in the 1 seed up there. I mean, they're both really good players. Molestar has plenty of experience in Conquest, so he's definitely going to come in and pose a challenge. Damon versus Donde. I mean, I think a lot of this week is going to depend on the 3-4-5s. I might favor Zilks for the 1 and 2. Obviously, Molestar versus Coles would probably be more of a toss up, but I would favor Jammies over Catharsis right now, just for like record.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against a player who's undefeated at this point in
Yeah,
the season.
yeah.
Honestly.
I want to see Jim Philos get his first one. I really do.
Oh, everybody loves Jim Philos.
Cause
Absolutely.
he's been
This is his
around for so
chance.
long, yeah, and he's gonna go up against Zathund, who's also struggling at 1-4.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things play out. Anoyo and Zilfs are, two of the contenders out of the Gold Conference, so it's gonna be an exciting match.
Yeah, I just want to quick pump up Molestar as a sub though. Molestar is actually insane.
Yeah, he's cracked.
Like yeah, I would expect him like if he was in the THL 1 seed, he could basically go undefeated in Legacy, even with all the crazy 1 seeds that we have now. So much so that plenty of very respected people I know have gone to him for advice in certain matchups. Like it's I'm definitely going to put Molestar ahead over Coles. Um, but otherwise, I think that this is a very close week.
Yeah. I picked this match specifically because both of these teams are definitely very high caliber. A Noyo team obviously has, they got off to a very great start and then they lost 2 weeks in a row, but they picked things back up last week. So they're obviously still in a pretty good spot right now, points wise. So I'm very optimistic that this is going to be a good match one way or the other, and it's going to be pretty close. So
Definitely.
So we shall move on now. Geranium, what amazing, exciting match did you decide to pick for today?
Okay, well, this is going to be the match of the 3-letter teams. We've got IDK and
Yeah.
STD going up against each other. This is we're gonna talk about JR's team. IDK, of course. JR, you're just on too many good teams for us to ever skip a week
Yeah.
talking about something else.
I mean, both of my teams are doing pretty well this season, so I can't say you're wrong about that. But, we're kind of like both my teams are kind of cruising like we're doing well, but it's pretty early on in the season, so we'll have to see if that continues.
That being said, T-Stew is undefeated so far, but I actually think his first defeat could be Automated Button. Automated Button has been going on a tear. He started in the 3 seed in Legacy, and now this season he started in the 2 seed, and he's already in the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Even with an unfortunate DQ in the first week and another loss.
Oh,
He's
God, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was really hard to avoid talking about that because it's one of those things that has only happened once, like a couple times, I think, in the seasons since we've implemented the rollover change.
Hmm.
Yeah, and to
So
think that Ron Mexico almost DQ'd too. We were cheering for that one until that
until it
reverted.
didn't
But
happen.
yeah, um, but talking more about IDK versus STD. Uh, so I'm gonna give the first seed to Button. Rice Bowl has declared himself the 2-3 specialist. So I think I think Mr. Python is the person to give him that 2-3. I think both the first and second seed will go STD. But then actually looking down the list a little bit more, JR, I think you've. I mean, I don't wanna put anything in the pot, but you sort of asked for a replacement, a sub that hasn't shown up yet on the schedule.
Well, I
Um,
actually just submitted the sub form because I didn't have a chance to do it earlier, but I do in fact have my sub ready.
Nice.
Are you ready? Are you
Yeah.
guys ready?
Yeah. I'm
Are
yeah.
you
ready.
ready? I got the one and only Bone Masher.
Ooh.
Okay, never mind. So yeah, Bone Masher is going to win against Electric Sheep City. Uh, and then Corridon though, oh man, I think Corridon is going to put in the work and beat Mad at Arms. So I think it is going to be a barely STD week, and then Mighty Biz versus Quaz. Uh, maybe it's not even barely. I think Quaz will beat Mighty Biz. I was not expecting the Bone Masher sub.
That's a great sub pickup. For sure.
You should have seen my reaction. I was like, "Damn, this guy actually messaged me directly and was like, if you're looking for a sub, I'm your guy." And I'm just like, "Yes, I like this idea very much. Sold."
Yes. Yeah, that's always
It
nice
was
when that
not hard.
happens.
It also just happened to be that he was the first person to reach out. So I was like, you know what? I'm taking this as a sign, and this way I don't really have to worry about making a choice and dragging this out. I was like, boom, picked him up. And I'm very excited to see how he does against Electric Sheep City. It's funny though because both of these guys are pretty big wild specialists as well. So I'm excited to see how a standard match between them is going to unfold.
Yeah. This is gonna be a super interesting match. I can see it going both ways. I think it's weird. Mr. Python is not struggling in any of his other series. I'm not sure if he has a loss in any other series that he plays. But he's 1-3 in Legacy, which is quite interesting. So him struggling, is like something I wasn't expecting for the season. But having Quas in Electric Sheep City picking up the slack.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like, in Python is like actually Hero seems to be the only series
Oh,
where he's
okay.
struggling right now.
All right. Well, Corridon coming in with the facts from chat. He has one loss in
Yeah, no,
Pro.
he's 5-0 in
Hero 5-0 in Wild.
Hero right now, for instance. He is killing it.
Yeah.
Hero seems to be his like best series for sure.
Yeah, he plays all four,
So,
so he's 5-0 Wild, 5-0 Hero, and 4-1 in Pro. But he's struggling
which
in
is
Legacy
absolutely nuts as far as the crossover stats goes.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Going off what Fish was saying, I don't think there's any way that Mr. Python can stay with a negative record because he is just one of the best players that I've seen. He probably has one of the best overall records in the multiple series.
Mhm.
So
He's
I think
leading.
he's definitely gonna win that game. And I also think that Quaz going 3-1 right now, I think he's gonna win the 5 seed. And besides that, STD only has to win one other match, and then they're kind of guaranteed a win for the week. So I think this week is going to STD.
Mm.
Yeah.
I feel betrayed, but I
Rice
understand.
Rice Bowl for 550. So
I actually forgot to mention that last week there was sort of a switcheroo because Tistu and Rice Ball are both doing so well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Rice Bowl used to be in the 1 seed, and so did Mr. Python. So maybe Mr. Python tried to escape facing Rice Bowl, but
Yeah.
couldn't.
unfortunately they switch swapped right back into their match.
Yeah.
I have complete faith in Tistu though. Like he was very worried about having to start off in the 1, and he was
Mhm.
very happy when he and Rice Bowl got to switch and he moved back to the 2. But I really think he's killing it right now, and I really think that even with an opponent, as strong as Automated Button, I definitely think he's going to hold his own.
Yeah. I actually think that the 1 and 2 are pretty close. I can definitely see Rice Bowl picking up the win over Mr. Python just based on kind of trends. I know Mr. Python is a great player, so could easily win his matchup.
Honestly, the main
T-
reason I'm going to give Rice Bowl the edge, besides him being my teammate, is the fact that these guys are former pro teammates.
Yeah, they are.
And like Rice Bowl is, he's very much a strategist, and he was really good at helping everybody out with their lineups.
Yeah.
So he definitely has a good sense of the players that he works with. So
Mhm.
I feel like that could work to his advantage against Mr. Python, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I will, of course, not be spoiling any secrets on his end at this point. You'll just have to see for yourself. But realistically,
Yeah.
I think Rice Bowl's like much like Marty B. I think his ability to kind of understand matchups and plan really works to his advantage in a lot of respects.
For sure. I would not count Mad at Arms out against Court, and I would favor Quaz and Bowmasher versus Sheep City is a toss up. I think it'll be
And that one's
3-2.
going to be really close.
I think it's gonna be
I think it's going to be
3-2.
3-2 either way.
Yeah.
I don't want this to become a losing streak for us.
Yeah, I mean,
But degenerates
neither.
are good, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't be. And it's Dr. Bomdy's team. Like I would
Yeah.
not be upset losing to these guys, but I definitely do not want us to go down the road of going from 3-0 to 3-3. So
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hope we can pick up the win this week.
Yep. That
So. And we
right.
got one more legacy match to talk about. That would be Theish's pick, or sorry, Pace's pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely pleased with the pick he went with, not gonna lie.
Yeah, so for my pick, I chose F2O White versus Flame Imps. Both of these teams have a lot of
Imps.
points right
Imps.
now.
The Flame
Oh,
Pimps.
Not imps.
Yeah, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, all good,
That
all
makes a
good.
Do
lot
I need
more
to
sense.
pimp slap you, Pace? I
Yeah,
definitely don't
so
need to, but
I kind of picked these because I know multiple players. I know Sunday, who, from what I've seen, he has really high game IQ. He's he does the stats for Wild, I think, so he seems really good. The Rotted Zombie, I'm surprised is 1 and 4 because whenever I watch him, he seems really good. And also Slad is a really good player. So I think that F2O White is gonna win this week, but I have to say, last week they did tie, which they've done that twice this season already, I think. So that's not a great sign, and they really want to move on from that trend because gotta get some wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the Rotted Zombie does much better in Wild, so much so that he was, I believe, in the finals of Wild last season.
Last
But
2 seasons.
oh yeah, yeah, the season before that as well. I mean, he's insane in Wild, but I think he's maybe struggling a little bit more in Legacy this season for whatever reason. Um,
He's
whereas, sorry, go ahead.
he's just not enjoying the meta as much. So I think it's affecting his play a little bit,
that can
which makes
absolutely happen.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas some of the other people on F12 White though are sort of not doing as well as I would expect in Legacy, having seen their previous results. My Anadon, I feel like should be closer to 4-2 rather than 3-2. So I'm expecting a win this week.
It should be
Insane.
noted that like F2L White, despite their bizarre record, which I also find it interesting that there are uh, 3 teams that have 2 ties this season in the Red Conference.
Yeah,
That's kind
it's
of insane.
crazy.
That's pretty nuts. But what I find very interesting is that despite their very odd record, they're still in a pretty good spot overall. Points wise, they're at 71. They're in second place in the conference and second place out of all the teams that are also that have also still not had their buys yet, which is still pretty good to be fair. The real issue is going to be whether or not the bye week is going to like really put them in a bad spot, um, depending on where they stand at that point. We've seen how like some teams can go really strong, but then that bye week can really put a damper on things. And F2L White, they actually have their bye next week, so that is going to be. I'm very interested in seeing how that's going to play out. Where like this week is going to kind of be a big deciding factor, I think, as far as where they're going to stand within their after their bye going into those last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, F2L White is currently the 5th highest points per week, and only barely ahead of Bank Yugi's fan club. So they really got to put on a good performance this week in order to more cement the number of points that they're going to get at the end. Because if they're not in the top 4, they're just not making playoffs. And what's a playoffs without F2L?
I mean, you could say that about pretty much every series at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing that's kind of fascinating about them, really. But
Mhm.
yeah, their points per week, unfortunately, is kind of where it's lacking. So they definitely do still have to step it up, but they're definitely not in a bad spot right now. But every point is really going to matter for them because as time goes on, more and more teams are going to get their buys out of the way first, and then everything kind of starts to even out as those last couple weeks continue. What also helps them, I will say, is the fact that Dad Legend, the one team ahead of them, also hasn't had their buy yet. So that is also going to be relevant
Yes,
in how the overall standings may shake up down the road.
for sure. Yeah, I'm excited for
So
this match. I saw Taco Cat on ladder. I'm pretty sure Taco Cat's like top 10 legend right now on ladder. He's killing it. So him versus Myanodon's gonna be really good.
yeah, that's going to be a good one for sure. I think Icer versus Rebobson, though, should
Ooh.
definitely get some hype for it as well.
Oh yeah, Icer is a really
Icer's
good player.
4-0, Rebobson's Rebobson. I mean, what more do you want? Sunday
Yeah.
versus Goose. I got a root for my boy Goose, but
Yeah, that'll be on.
I would love to see Sunday pull off a big upset here.
Well, we might get to see that later in the weekend. Who knows?
Let me guess, it's already been scheduled for stream.
Yes, that's gonna be it. It's gonna be on stream.
Don't fake hype me, Fish. Come
I
on.
want to leave a little suspense.
What suspense?
I can't give away every match. It's on stream.
No, but you basically gave it away when you said it that way.
Yeah, I know. It's just
Maybe you stop talking about it, JR.
All right,
What?
we're fine. We'll
Yeah,
move
fair
on.
enough,
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
sure. I mean, I think F2L. It's just weird. Like 1, 2, and 2, but their records, like they have two players who are above 500. Two players that are 1 win below 500. Like they kind of have like Rotted and Slot, who are kind of balancing, like kind of like balancing each other out, which can prove difficult for teams to overcome at some points. It really depends on having weeks where like Rebobson and Sunday where one of those two picks up a win. Considering that Slot and Myanodon have picked up wins in most of their weeks, but yeah, Flame Pimps is also a fantastic team. They are sitting with a decent amount of points per week, having 65 points. They are sitting atop the points per week in the Red Conference, if I remember correctly, just barely above IDK. So
yeah, Pimps are 1 point ahead of us right now.
Yeah,
it's extremely close
for sure. All right, so any last thoughts before we head out of Legacy and go into Hero?
No, I think Legacy. I'm really happy with the way Legacy is turning out this season. It's really a fight for those top spots. I will just say, I think the bye week always makes things interesting because, on one hand, it kind of makes predicting how things are going to go a little bit more erratic.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like the fact that it means that the things can be a little bit more unpredictable and more interesting to kind of map out. So I don't necessarily take issue with it, even though we often have to wait until the very end of the season before we kind of have a much clearer picture as far as playoffs go.
Yeah,
Legacy is really insane this time. I mean, we've got in Gold Conference, we got like 6 teams scrapping it out, all with around the same points per week. So almost any of them really could shoot ahead and make it to playoffs. Um, Red Conference is free though, so we can move on to
Oh,
Euro.
come
Dang!
on.
Wow, I thought you were about to say gold's free, but yeah, I don't
No,
know.
I mean,
I haven't.
honestly, both. If we're being honest,
Both
both
conferences
conferences
are
are
great.
shaping up very similarly at this
They
point. You know.
they are. They're really got some really good conferences this season.
The thing I find very interesting though about red compared to the only real difference between red and gold right now is the fact that red has a lot more ties.
Yeah.
Gold has had no ties this season. Red has had a total of 8. Or sorry, four match ties. Excuse me,
So
4 match ties.
weird. Yeah.
It's bizarre. Yeah, I'm doing. Let me see if I'm doing that math right. Yep, 4 matches. There have been 4 match ties over the course of the season so far. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But
So
I'm excited. So let's move on to Hero now.
right, moving on to Hero. I believe this is JR's match. Sure, I got it right.
Yeah, I
did.
definitely had to go with the match at the very top right now, which is of course our current first place team, No Pros Here, versus Inferno THL. Um, I had to pick this one because I feel like generally speaking, you want to talk about the first place team because there's a lot of shifting at the beginning, as far as like who stays there. And looking at the standings for Hero right now, oh my God, is it exciting! I love it. I feel like I mean I've talked about this before, but the last time Hero had a 12 team 12 teams where everybody played against each other. It was great. Everybody got to play against each other. It was a long regular season. My team ended up winning it all, which obviously contributes to my liking towards that. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I just love the fact that it felt pretty like great to just have so many matches and have it be so close till the very end. I mean, people might remember, but like when we did this was 3 seasons ago. There was nothing set in stone. There was only one team going into it that was going to be that was guaranteed to make playoffs, and that was the Spies That Flies. But all 3 other spots were up for grabs. It was extremely close. It got to the point where everybody was like trying to make sure with their match wins that they made it, and boy, was it exciting. And now I feel like looking at the standings right now, it's extremely close. I mean, you've got no pros here at 88 points at the top, but everybody else is slowly coming together. They're getting right behind them. Inferno right now, they are in 6th place with 73 points, with a 3-2 record, and I think they could give NPH a run for their money. I gotta say, this is a pretty solid roster, as we've kind of talked about them before. No Pros here, of course, has Carvalho in the 1, Agent PWE in the 2, your Mumked in the 3, Disco in the 4, and Quaz in the 5. And Inferno is the team started up by Clarity this season with Snake, Vino Spumoni, Seabit, Nomad Farmer, and Clarity, of course, playing in the 5. This one's a tough one. I gotta say. I do think the only match I feel very comfortable. There are 2 matches I feel pretty comfortable as far as who's going to win. That would be Vino against HMPWE, and even then, that one I think is probably going to be really close. But it's hard for me to bet against a 5-0 player right now. It really is. And then I got to give it to my boy, your mom kid, in the 3 against Seabit. Especially with how much Seabit is struggling, I feel like your mom kid is probably in a really good spot right now. But the rest of the matches, especially in the 4 and the 5, those are extremely close. Like this one's a tough one to call, I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree. Um, your Mumkid versus Seabit. I think your Mumkid's like it's so interesting. 478 PR hero player, absolutely like bonkers player. He's pretty much a 550 PR legacy player, and I'm guessing he'll get there in Euro if he just keeps playing in the series. Your Mumkid doesn't lose very often, so especially over the last few seasons, he's really stepped up his game. And
He's always been really good, but his PR has really skyrocketed lately.
yeah.
He's never had like a bad run. He's just continuously improved and
Hmm.
improved. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if like in the near future we see him as like being one of the being one of the like big like one of like a top 1 seed down the road.
Sure.
Certainly plausible.
Yeah, I'm interested to see all of these, see how this match just plays out in general. Inferno, Our team played them in week 1, and I feel like a few of their players were getting kind of adjusted to it, where our team was where F2O Black was able to take a nice week win against them. But they've bounced back and only had one more loss since then. So, very very exciting to see this team, which has like three rookies to THL, playing on it. See how they're doing, like, just pretty well for themselves, and having like having a great player like Snake, and then having having an OP 5 seed in Clarity, just gonna help the team immensely.
Yeah, I
I would
think
agree with that.
Vino. Oh, sorry, Vino being 5-0 right now. He just has so much momentum,
Yeah.
so much confidence right now. I don't think that he's gonna lose. But besides that, I think that MPH is gonna win every other match because their roster seems so stacked, all positive players. Inferno has some negative players. I think that MPH is gonna take this and continue with a very good record.
Yeah. I think it's it's interesting. Probably the very closest thing in this entire thing is Carvalho and Agent PWE's PRs. I think
Yeah.
that this match is not necessarily going to be as close. Um, but Vino also is 5-0. He's very good at sweeping, which is exactly what you need for Hero. And I think he's just going to keep sweeping with that win rate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's. I really wanted to beat him in our match. Yeah, he played very well though. He's not 5-0 for nothing. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. I just hope that Snake's true PR is high enough that Snake will continue to be the 1 seed. Because then
It
Vino can just keep
should
scamming in the 2.
be.
I'm not sure, but um, hey, if they switch, that's probably fine. Like, it seems like both of those players, he's like Vino could hold his own in the 1 based on what's been going on so far. But we'll see how it plays out. We have our next match to go over, which is the match that Geranium Battle picked.
Yeah, so I was looking and I couldn't help but pick the second highest match. We've got the LAST versus Dad Legend. Although this week, I mean, this is sort of the problem with these named teams where it's based on all the different names of the players. This week it's actually slashed because Robocat's Bunny is swapping out for Skittles. In fact, the past 3 weeks it's hasn't been Blast any of those weeks. It was Slast the week before that, and then it was Blazd as 2-star Mako switched out for Diamond. Um,
Mm.
but actually looking at these matchups, I think that Dad Legend has all the 3-2s down the line, and that's exactly their win rate, 3-2. Um, you know, uh, actually, Dr. Fish said in the post about this broadcast going up that we are here to give terrible takes, and so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. Um, I think if you're not first in this matchup, you're Blast.
Are you
Oh my
are
god.
okay? Are you calling a sweep?
So I'm going to predict Dad
Oh my
Legend
god.
will defeat Blast. I think Icicles will beat Avi. I think Starlax will beat Lotus Knight. I think I think Risen will give Skittles his first sub loss. I think Corridon will beat 2-star Mako. And
Oh,
Yellow Dart in the 5 seed?
Mm.
I mean, he
Sokka,
was.
you can't keep getting away with this.
Mm.
Yes.
Well, this took a very interesting turn.
Dang, I love it. He's calling a sweep. I love it.
I don't even
I
know what to
don't.
say.
I don't have the. I don't have the courage to call a sweep here. But I will say, I will say I favor Isocles. I'll never bet against Lotus Knight. So I'm picking Lotus over Starlax. I think gosh, Skittles versus Risen. Like, I know, like, Risen's a much better player than his PR, Like he's just kind of had lower PR and just hasn't had like that hasn't really stringed together like insane seasons. So he kind of like he's really good in the 3. I think because he's been playing every week, I think he has a slight advantage over Skittles, who hasn't been playing hero every week. Um, I, but it'll be tight, and I know Skittles is an insane player, so definitely would not count out. Would definitely want to just count out Skittles getting a nice win, and then Mako versus Corridon. I'll give it to Corridon, to my boy, my fellow Friday Night Fights caster, and then Dart versus Saku. Man, Saku's playing so well right now to get to 4-1, and he's not like, and these 5 seeds in Hero are so good. Like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
I'm running the same gauntlet that Saku is, and he's killing it. I'm giving him a
excuse and be
I'm
just high rolling.
I'm giving Saku a BGH. I'm saying he beats Yellow Dart and Blast takes the week. I don't know the order in which games are played, but I'm giving it to my boy Saku over Dart. I like both of those guys. It was a big learning experience to play against Yellow Dart when I did.
I feel
All I
like
know is that-
Yellow Dart would dislike me if I've rooted for him over Saku, so I'm rooting for Saku.
There we go.
All I know is that later on this week, Sokka's going to say, at Yellow Dart, thanks for the great match.
Yep.
And we
Yes.
won't know what the result is until we
I know.
I always love how
I
that's
love
the
it.
best. Like that's one of those things I want to do, like with all my matches, but I'm just not quite there yet. But I do love that. That's Saku's thing. It's basically like, you know what?
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be cryptic. You know what? You'll just have to check the website and see that match results.
Mm-hmm. I did that last week as well with Wash. I was just like, GG's. It was a great series.
I think
Yeah.
I think looking at the PRs, Dad Legend seems like a much more well-rounded team. Like everybody is really close from the 2 to the 5, and they all have really similar records. And if you look at Team Blast, you have 3-2-3-2 and then a 1-3. But you do have a 4-1 in the 5 seed. So both these teams are really good, but I think Dad Legend seems like they're gonna take it. I just like their lineup more.
Yeah, I mean that's what's so strong about a 5 seed is if you can be very top heavy and still have a 5 seed that's performing very well, that's
Right.
how you get to where Blast is.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
plus, you've got, for Blast, it needs to be noted that you've got Saku, who's doing really well in the 5, and then you've got Mako, who is not typically a 4 seed.
No,
You know, like,
Mako's
that's
kind
just-
of Mako's. Yeah, his hero PR is very low. He's kind of got that Buse situation where he's got much higher PR in Legacy than he does in Hero. But it's interesting because the way that HSA constructs their lineup, Mako's been in the 4 for like a couple of seasons now, because but they are all like pretty close in PR in the 2, 3,
Right.
4 for HSA there.
I will also say, for me, I have to give the edge to Blast just from the fact that I do feel like just from the several of their matchups, I feel like they do kind of have the edge. Most notably, I just feel like the 2 through the 4, I feel like are going to be. I definitely feel like they're going to win at least 2 of those. And then Avi or Saku would just have to get a win after that, and that seals it for them. So
Yeah.
I could see Dad Legend getting a win because they are still doing very solidly, and all their players are picking up their decent share of points. So yeah, I could see an upset here, but Blast is definitely in a very good spot, I would say, considering the way their team is structured.
All right. So we have one more hero match to get through, and this is the match that I actually ended up picking out, which is Vote of Some Confidence versus Dabs on them. We have Vote of Some Confidence kind of having a middling season. For like I think they're kind of trending down for their wins. I don't remember how their record has gone, but Dabs on them is on the rise. They started out pretty rough, and now they're 2-3. And they do have a new permasub in the 5 seed. So we have Heat Shock versus Base in the 1, Ufric versus Astral Frog in the 2, Ridiculous Hat versus Seth in the 3. Boolean versus Buse. Buse finally moving out of the 5 into the 4. And Diamond coming in as their 5 seed against Gympalos. So this is an interesting
Hype.
interesting matchup because this is Diamond versus his former hero team.
Yeah. Not only that, Diamond was last week, I believe, Dabs on them faced Blazd,
Mhm.
which was the team that used to have Diamond as a sub.
Yeah.
So Diamond has been, but now Diamond actually makes sense in this team name. He's actually filling in for the correct letter.
Yeah.
As Dewin comes out, Diamond comes in.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see I'm very curious to see how Dabs on him plays. I wouldn't like it. You would think, oh, they just lost like their 3 seed, their player who was their 4 seed who had like 300 some odd PR, and they're replacing him with someone who's actually going to be playing the 5. But I think it'll still work out because Buse is such an insane player. Um, and like Diamond said, the synergy is there for the name, so it works out. um, I'm really for vote though. I mean, I love seeing these insane matchups in every series. We have Heat Shock versus Based. Like what? It's gonna be such a good matchup. Ufric and Astral Frog also gonna be a very good matchup. Ufric moving up into the 2 seed as Ridiculous Hat goes down to the 3.
Which is nuts.
Yeah,
By the way.
The reason our hat was playing the 3 for them last season was because Ron Mexico was on the team, and so like they were both kind of around that 500 to 550 PR range in Heroes, so um they both got to kind of just swap places while Heat Shock holds the 1 seed because he's got a lot of true PR. And then really it's good to see like Jim Philos isn't having maybe the insane season he had last season, but having a positive record is always good. The team is 3-2 despite having 3 players who are negative in record, with 76 points. So they're also a very high point getter.
Yeah, I think my captain for Wild Diamond obviously gonna win 3-0 sweep.
Easy.
But besides that, like the top 3 players on vote of some confidence are all insane. Like I think that they're gonna win. And then for the 4 seed match, I could see it going either way, but I think that if the first 3 players win for vote, then they're definitely gonna win the series. So I'm sorry, Diamond, but I don't think you guys are winning this one.
Mm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to mostly agree. I think that Arhat and Boolean are going to take it in the 3 and the 4. Um, I think that Boolean, I think Buse is very, very good. I just think that Boolean is also very much under PR, very much under what his win rate should be. And then it just has to be one more win from vote, and there's so many very good players on that team.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think Based wins, I think Buse wins, and I think Diamond wins, and I think Astral's under PR'd for how good he is. So yeah, I could even see a scenario where Dabs just puts up a big week. I think I do give it to R Hat in the 3. And Ufric and Astral would be like a toss up in my mind. But I favor Based and Buse and Diamond. And Heatshock versus Based isn't like it's a coin toss, but I will choose to root for Based.
I mean, it is based.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have. I wouldn't. I I don't know about seeing ties a lot. We're just seeing a lot of them in one particular, in a couple series, but not really hero as much.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty surprisingly like it's not we don't normally see that many of these in one season. Like ties are
Yeah.
not frequent for sure.
No. All right, let's get into our commercial break. Go ahead and take it
Of
away, Mr.
course.
Geranium.
So, Thank you so much for tuning in to Tavern Talk. If you're enjoying our show, make sure you check out Around the Saloon on Mondays and Ronnie Tuesday on Hearth Center on Sunday that you will never guess. Is that not enough content for you? Well, we stream THL matches each night from Thursday to Sunday starting at 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. All evening match schedules are to be determined by caster player availability. No purchase necessary and void or prohibited. But wait, that's not all. We also have incredible matches on weekend afternoons on school, so precise times and days are subject to availability. Please consider subscribing to our channel. The subscription enables the THL team to cover the various causes of operating a website and improve the quality of our streams content to our viewers. And I see someone asking in our chat, what is Prime Gaming? Well, if you have Amazon Prime or Prime Gaming, you can sub to the channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge and sub emotes. The most recent one was the brushy tuna emote, and it is swimmingly supreme. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our Team Rising live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, please check out THL's other social media points of interest. The website is at teamhearthlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth Legends, and the THL POW podcast is wherever podcasts are sold.
Oh. And buy merch. We have our merch store. None of us are unfortunately wearing any, but THL swag. You can find that the link to that on the website and on the Discord, I would assume. So yeah, if you want some cool merch, go ahead and go get some. To help support this community.
We've seen some great selfies from people who are wearing the merch, who are showing off like their new stickers and everything like that, and it's all been looking great. I have my own Rip Carlbot shirt, and I'm going to wear it again, of course, on the show.
Nice. All right, so let's get right into Pro Series. All right, so we have again 3 Pro Series matches. Gonna start off with JR's pick.
Yep. And I like the match that was picked for me because it's gonna be a tight one. Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich versus Clownstone, aka a rematch from last season's semifinals. Right? I got that right?
Semifinal. Okay. It's like a combination of semifinals and finals.
Basically, right?
Yeah, for the clowns.
Right. Oh, right, because of German Shep.
Yeah.
Right, joining in. That's right. Because remind me again, who did German Shep replace?
I don't know who exactly they replaced, but German Shep and Chicken are in for Zarella and Lumble.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
Super Chicken is new too. Who did Super Chicken play for last season?
He was on for the boys.
Oh,
yeah, both
I'm
of them
dumb. Sorry, Diamond.
Yeah.
So we got ourselves now. Both these teams aren't like at the top of the conference, from what I can tell, but they're still doing pretty well for themselves. Clownstone have already had their bye. Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich still have to have their bye, and they're separated by a 22-point gap, which is pretty extensive for a 1-match difference. But I mean, we'll see what happens. This one, I'm excited for this one though because we've got some pretty exciting matches here. Of course, we've got Wet Goose versus Neji Boston, top players top players right now. At the very top of their rosters, and definitely some very solid players. We've seen them from the Masters tours. I'm excited to see how this is gonna fare this time around because I'm pretty sure they did not play each other last season, right?
No, they did not.
Okay. Then we got Gurjim versus Kalis Luna. Kalis Luna, of course, coming off of a very solid performance as well off of the last Masters Tour. I mean, for those of you that are unaware, Kalis Luna is currently positioned to actually become a GM next season.
Yes.
That is nuts and exciting, and I love it.
You don't get much more pro than that.
Well, what's hilarious is that 2 of the for those who have been keeping up, 2 of the 3 players that are currently set to become NA GMs next season are THL players.
I thought it was 3. Oh, I thought it was 3.
Well, who's the third?
It's Kalis, Luna, McBannerface, and Dardar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Dardar the third, or I wasn't sure.
Dardar is currently, I believe, 4th.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think it's somebody else who's in third, but I'm trying to remember who it is.
3 of the top 4.
Yes. Okay. So that's still really good though, because first of all, more THL representation in Grandmasters is always a good thing. And more importantly, though, we'd be talking about players and this is no disrespect to Rami whatsoever, but obviously to see players who really started out in THL and then found themselves really hitting it in the Grandmasters, and that would be just
Yeah.
awesome. Rami's obviously a very welcome member of this community, and we love him. But obviously, there he had become a Grandmaster and then later joined us, as opposed to the other way around. So definitely happy to just have any kind of representation. But again, that whole like journey to go from THL to Grandmaster, how awesome would that be? So.
Hmm.
Yeah, other than that, I think it's going to be a really close match, and I don't really know how to call most of these. I think this is just going to be really close one way or the other.
Yeah.
Uh, I would just like to additionally point out that German Shep and Nails have actually been streaming together. They even announced a stream earlier today, where they were both teaching each other sort of their specialist decks. So I think that the team synergy is certainly there, even though that there were two large replacements. Nails losing one of his longtime practice partners, Lumble. Um, Still going to see quite some cohesiveness in there. And I think that Clownstone. I peg Clownstone as being in the playoffs from the start. They're stacked from top to bottom. Uh, it's just that Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwich is also a playoffs team, for sure. So I think that it's going to be extremely close to call which team is going to come out. I think this could be Clownstone's second tie.
Mm. That would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, with how many ties we've had, I wouldn't be surprised to see another tie. It's such an interesting week. Because having Shep and Chicken not having played that many weeks, they're gonna be playing in lower seeds. Where German Shep like was consistently holding down the 1 or 2 seed on for the boys for the last 2 seasons. I think him versus Zabe is just insane. I'm pretty sure they played. Pretty sure they would have played last season. In playoffs, I believe they would have been the head to head in the finals. Um, and Super Chicken was playing at a very high level as well. So I think I would favor those two. Neji versus Wet Goose. I know Wet Goose is also a very good player, but Neji's been finding his stride lately, so I'm gonna give it to him. Kalis Luna versus GR Jim. I will say that's probably the biggest toss up in my mind because I don't know much about GR Jim or much about what Kalis Luna has been playing. Um, I think I would give it and Mick versus Nails is gonna be interesting. Nails is 1-3 in pro. Just goes to show the quality of players that we have. Where somebody who's been consistently at the top of ladder and at the top and playing very well in pro is struggling. So I'd say I might give it to Mick, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nails won. 3-2 for Clownstone.
Yeah, I agree for the most part, except I think that Nage is gonna win in the 1 seed because he's a great player from what I've seen. I played him earlier this year, I'm pretty sure, in the Wild series, and he was a very good opponent. So I think Clownstone is gonna take it 4-1. And like I just think getting German and Super Chicken is huge. They seem like an extremely stacked team now.
Hmm.
Uh I think they're gonna move up very quickly in the rankings.
Yeah, for sure.
I just don't know whether Super Chicken needs a little bit more time to sort of settle in, since both German Chef and Super Chicken lost in their first week on the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just not sure whether this week is going to be Clownstone's big win, big return, or whether that's going to be the rest of the season.
Hmm. For sure. Let's gotta kind of get moving, so I want to get to the next match here, which is Uranium's pick.
Of course, this is going to be what used to be for the boys Diamond's new team, Para Los Chicos versus Brushy Tuna, and this has already resulted in Based Inc. taking a sweep over the last champ. Um, Both of these teams are very high up in the rankings of Black Conference. Carlos Chicos does have one extra game, as in hasn't had their bye yet over Rushy Tuna, but otherwise has very similar stats. one of the highest points per week in the league. A very similar strength of schedule to the other team. It's just that I think that this lineup is not very favorable for the Chicos. As for the more specific matchups that we see here, I think that Mr. Python versus Lotus Knight, I really hope that it gets streamed. Mr. Python
Yeah.
is absolutely tearing up every single thing that isn't Legacy, and I don't know whether he will tear up Lotus Knight, but it definitely could happen. And then Ricino versus Desharmo, I'm going to give that to Desharmo. Ron Mexico versus the TC Gamer. I know Ron Mexico's play a bit more, so I'll give it to him. But Dr. Bondi versus Icicles, I'm actually going to give to the Doctor himself. I think that Dr. Lotus Knight and Dr. Bondi might be the two wins here. If Dr. Fuchsia's here, I'd give it to him too.
Dang. Yeah. Interesting week. It's great. Like when you start a week with a sweep, it usually bodes well for your team for the rest of the week. Although we saw a couple instances where a team got a sweep and did not win the week. And I don't know much about Racino or TC Gamer. But they have tough opponents in Desharmo and Ron. Mr. Python versus Lotus. Absolutely a banger of a matchup. I want to see, like, again, I just love to see Lotus do well. But Mr. Python's also great. So I want to see Lotus win. I want to see Brushy Tuna, the team, do well. And Isocles versus BOMD is also gonna be really, really close. So I don't know. I think it'll be close. I think Brushy Tuna will take a close week though.
Yeah, I think that this sweep is a sign of what's to come. I think Python might win his match, but for the most part, I think Tuna is gonna win by a decent amount. They just seem like a really solid overall team.
If I was able to spam some Brushy Tunas in chat, then I certainly would. I think Brushy Tuna has a very good chance this
I
week.
got you.
Oh,
Yeah. Mhm. I guess we'll let JR give some thoughts if he has any.
Honestly, I don't really have anything to add. I think you guys really covered all the main points. And I mean, with with all these these high caliber matchups being played,
Mm-hmm.
I will just say I definitely most agree with Mr. Python versus Lotus Knight being pretty worthwhile. That's going to be pretty exciting. But I will also say I think just every single one of these matches are ones that I'm looking forward to. I think the one that isn't going to get talked about much, but I think will be pretty exciting though, is Dr. Bombdy versus Isocles. I think
Oof.
that one's going to be pretty hype.
Yeah. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to our last match. F12 Crimson versus Infinite Value. Pace, take it away.
Yeah, so I picked this match because one, F2O just always has great teams. I don't know how they do it. They're always at the top. But also they have Corbett, who is, in my opinion, the best wild player. So going through their team, they have Corbett. Uh, I don't know how to say the name. I'm guessing
Uh,
it's
it's
Chemagician, maybe?
a Shay Magician.
Shay Magician. They have
Yeah.
Marty B. They have Marty B, who is I'm pretty sure he's on the THL. I forget the name of the show, but he's on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, he's on Heart Center.
yeah.
Then they have Itachi, who I've never seen him play, but from what I've heard, he's a great player and he's great with lineups and stuff like that. And they have Derivis, who I have not heard about. And then on the other side, we have Clone, Interval, Pedro's 99, Racy, and Ezbake. I think
Easy
that
bake.
Easy Bake, yeah, that makes more sense. I
Mm-hmm.
think Corbett, Marty B, and Itachi are all gonna win this week. I don't know how Itachi and Marty B are negative right now because they're good players in my opinion. But yeah, I think that if they can all step up and win, then F2L Crimson is gonna win and kind of break the weird record that they have of only one win, despite having so many points.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Infinite Value has 3 players that are 1-3, and their record is 1-3. Whereas F2O Crimson, I feel like with their players, they should have more wins than that. But yeah, for Itachi is definitely whether he's getting unlucky or whether he's going to bring it back immediately. I think if he can find the time to put back into the game, then we'll definitely see him return to form. Um, whereas with the rest of the top of the lineup here, Corbett, Shea Magician, and Marty B, though, I think uh, that's just going to be some easy games for F2L Crimson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I I like how F12 Crimson matches up into Infinite Value. I think Easy Bake might get his first win against Derivis here. Easy Bake sometimes brings some funky lineups, but see if he makes it work this week against Derivis. Itachi versus Racy's pretty hype match. Um, so even though their records aren't that great, they're both really good players. It's just pros. Like we've been mentioning, pro has a lot of high level gameplay. Marty versus Pidris, I'd probably favor Marty. Che versus Interval, I'd give to Che. And Corbett versus Clone, I would give to Corbett. So I can see this going like 4-1 to Crimson. It just depends on how those bottom 2 matches go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a toss up, really, honestly.
Yeah.
At this point, it's definitely going to be a matter of can F2L continue their dominance in the top, like in the top positions, or will but like I don't know if both of these teams are obviously really struggling. If Itachi and Derivis start to pick things up, though, F2L Crimson really starts to look like they've got a great shot at playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. So that's we have one more series to go through. We only have a wild series left, and Ace is going to be able to give some good insight here in the wild series. We're going to start with the match that JR has, which everyone's a winner versus no Fin can stop us.
Even though that team name is a lie, there's no such thing as everyone's a winner. I mean, that's
Almost.
actually not true. If we want to be technical,
Well, it's their team is a bunch of winners.
I mean, everyone is a winner on this team. So,
Yes.
okay, you know what? If we really want to get super technical, fine. You know what? I'll let that slide.
Sure.
But that's beside the point. Anyway, everyone's a winner versus nothing can stop us. Which is also now that name is actually a lie because they've been stopped 3 times. So this is the lawyer in me talking, so I apologize in advance. But of course, we've got the current champions, everyone's a winner, versus a team of a relatively new team, but definitely, of course, having players that we're used to seeing, especially No Way H, Quake Lord, and Yo Daddy. We've definitely talked about them last season.
Yeah.
And Seth, of course, is a new player to THL. He's playing in a bunch of different series. This is, I think, the only series he's captaining. But I'm excited to see what this guy can do. But of course, everyone's a winner. Obvious favorites here. It's hard not to like. Battle Tagger's 5-0. Hazer and Sunday are 4-1. Absolute is 3-2. 6J being 2-3 is a bit distressing, obviously. But you know what? When these guys are picking up wins, they're picking up wins. So that's really what matters most. I do not see them like slowing down anytime soon. Yeah, they have a loss already, but they're still killing it right now. I really don't know what else to say about these guys. There's just an incredible team of consistently fantastic players, and yeah, I don't know what can stop them. They feel like the new F2L Viridian as far as like nothing can stop them. They're just going to keep on winning. But given what happened to F2L Viridian last season and kind of how their trajectory, I'm wondering if we're going to have a very similar encounter with this team this season. I'm wondering if we're going to get to the very end and somebody's going to take them down.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
So I'm actually gonna go for maybe a controversial take. I think that nothing can stop us is gonna take this week for two main
Sacre la
reasons.
bleu!
Okay.
The first reason, Battle Tagger and No Way already submitted their lineups, and I think No Way, if he Battle Tagger brought Odd Warrior, if No Way bans that, he has good matchups into all of Battle Tagger's decks. So I really think that No Way got really lucky with the lineups this week and is probably going to beat Battle Tagger. And then picking up Tiger Eye in the 5 seed is just huge because he is
Yeah.
consistently a top 10 wild player. I
Mm-hmm.
think he is also going to win. So they needed one more win out of those 3 players in the middle, and they could definitely win this week.
Now, I'm I'm going to go against the wild specialist here a little bit. Everyone's a winner. Everyone's a winner did not unfortunately win last week, so they are definitely touchable, and I think that that's going to spur them more into practicing and really doubling down and being as good as they can be. So I think that actually because everyone wasn't a winner, and you can see that Hazer and Sunday now are 4-1 instead of 5-0, that they're going to buckle up and they're going to actually perform against Nova can stop us. Tiger Eye is top 10 legend, but JJ or 6J was undefeated last season in THL, and while that not doesn't necessarily count for much, THL is where it seems like all the top legend wild players congregate. So I actually think that Tiger Eye has a hard match in front of him going up against 6J.
Yeah. I don't. I didn't look at the lineups for Tagger and No Way. I can pull them up. I think the matchup I'm most interested in is Hazer versus Quake Lord because Quake Lord's super good. See, we got Seeker Mage Raza, Hand Buff, and Dark Glare versus looks like I guess this is APM.
It's
No.
like an Exodia.
Sorry,
Mage.
that's Exodia Mage. Yeah, Exodia Mage, Raza Priest, Odd Warrior, and a hand buff from Tagger as well. No Loatheb in Battle Tagger's deck though is to be noted. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the matchups. I think the Quest Mage could be a bit of an issue depending on the ban from No Way. Could have a hard time getting through unless it's like banned away. But I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also another point that I want to make is that Battle Tiger kind of teched his Rito Priest pretty hard against aggro decks with things like Binding Heal and Zarella, and he cut some of the card draw.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
No Way still has the card draw on his deck, so I think he is really
Hmm.
favored at the mirror there.
Sure, yeah, if they have to go into a mirror, I think No Way would win it. Yeah. Um I mean Tagger is also but I mean, yeah, for sure. I think No Way has a chance. Um against Tagger. They're both very good players. So it'll be interesting. Hazer versus Quicklord, just gonna be an insane matchup. Sunday versus Yo Daddy, I would favor Sunday. Absolute versus Seth, I'd probably favor Absolute. And then Tiger Eye versus 6J Wan. Tiger Eye is such a huge pickup to have as a sub for this week. I don't know. I don't think he's perma. He obviously when you're just subbing for 1 week, it'll just show up that way. And if he's a sub, he'll be there next week as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a tight one. And see how these teams prep against each other. Yeah, Glare. Yeah, it's just a 1 week sub for Glare. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our next match. We have Geranium's pick.
Yeah, so I actually talked about right now. I'm talking about Felmy Amarek for the second week in a row. Last week, I talked about how Felmy Amarek has had the absolute hardest matchup every single week. They've already played against all five of the top five teams, and last week they got their first win.
Woo!
Yeah, so I think that definitely could continue. But Wild THL Fanatics is actually coming off of an even more important win because they're the only team to have beaten Everyone's a Winner. Um, we saw Turtle with he has no wins in any other series, but he now has his second win against what was the previously undefeated Sunday. I think that Wild THL Phoenix, even getting Based Inc. in on their roster is just looking insane. So it's once again probably the hardest possible team Falmy Amarek can go up against, and I'm still going to believe in them. I think that it's going to be another close win for Falmy Amarek.
Yeah, I think Felmy definitely should not be 1-4 right now because when you have somebody as good as Mentalistic in your 4 seed, you know that your team is very good, but they've just been getting unlucky with matchups and stuff in the previous weeks. And I think that even though WoW THL Fanatics have a ton of confidence right now beating what was the number 1 seed, I don't think that they're going to beat Felmy Amarek just because before last week they had not been performing very well.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how base does going up against Nephila. I mean, Nephila is like a wild specialist player, I guess you would call him, just someone who plays mainly wild.
Mm.
While base mainly plays standard, but I know Base Inc. Has played in the wild series before, played in season 1 as well as in the I don't know if she played in the alpha/beta season or not, but I mean, great player. I am very interested to see Electric Sheep City versus Mentalistic, how that plays out. And then Slod versus Kyrax will be very interesting. Slod's an insanely good player. I know Turtle like used to be mainly a wild player and then ended up getting into going into standard and now is back in wild. With a 2-3 record. So coming off momentum from last week, we'll see how he does against Snake Fods, who's also mainly a wild player who also does very well in standard. And then Doc versus Peanuts, Dr. BOMD versus Peanuts will be interesting. It's gonna be close. Um, I'll believe in Felmy. I'm a wreck. I'll say Peanuts, Snake Fods, and Mentalistic take wins this week, with Doc and Based getting. Oh no, with a Slot and Based getting wins. And yeah, 61 points at 1-4 is really good.
Yeah, they're doing that is worth noting that they're only 3 points behind Wild THL Fanatics, despite despite being 1-4.
Yeah,
Um,
it means they have the same
uh,
points
I gotta
essentially.
give the edge to the Fanatics, honestly, but Felmy on Marek, I will not be upset if these guys pull off the upset. I do like. It's just hard to root against an entire team of THL standard veterans, though. And it's my boy Bomdy's team, so that's also like all the more reason I kind of have to
Mm-hmm.
have some loyalties there.
Sure.
It's very hard to root against very entrenched THL veterans and hard to root against my teammate Turtle, but I'm doing it. Felmy Amarek, baby.
Let's go.
There you go.
All right. So we got one last match, and I'll let Pace go through this one, because sure you've been waiting for this.
Yeah, so one thing I just want to point out right away, look at how punctual the pug merchants are. Well,
Oh,
I don't think it's updated, but currently every single player on the pug merchants has submitted their deck lists already. So we are a very punctual team. But moving on from that, the Pug Merchants have a sub this week for Tom Carter. We have Cold Snap, who I was not very familiar with, but he seems like a very good player. I was talking with him earlier. Um, but yeah, let's go through the matchups because these are some very interesting games. I am going against MBR.
no,
I'm not
num
going to say his
no,
full name.
number theory.
Okay, I guess that's how you say it.
Mhm.
The past few weeks he has brought very solid decks, and every week he is switching it up. So that's gonna be a very close matchup. And then we have an alpha artist versus Veteranam, I'm guessing. So Artist actually does better if you predict that he's gonna lose. So I think Artist is gonna lose this 3-0 to Veteranam.
Mhm.
Then we have our sub versus Catharsis. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I was looking at our subs deck list. They are all very good, especially for the format that this is in, because they can win against any deck. Maxibon is negative right now, but he definitely shouldn't be because he is one of the most talented players that I've ever played with. Whenever we do practice matches, he destroys me. So I guess he's just getting unlucky with the matchups. And he's going against Siege, who is also a good player. Um, and I actually thought that I was going to go against Siege because last week he was ranked number 1 on their team, but he moved down. And lastly, in the 5 seed for the Pog Merchants, we have Lasagna, who is struggling a lot this year. It's his first season, and he has not won yet, but I think he's gonna have to start winning eventually because everybody considers him a top 5 best wild player. So he's
Mhm.
definitely gonna start racking in those wins. And he's going against Kenray, who is another 5 seed player. I think that Lasagna is gonna win his match. Maxi's gonna win his match. Cold Snap is gonna win. I think Artist is gonna lose, and my match, I can't really go against myself. So I think I'm gonna win, and the Pog Merchants are gonna move up to 4th place.
Heck yeah.
Hmm.
I like the confidence. And Lasagna, obvious, like from what I know, he's playing with a limited card, um, a limited card pool. Because isn't he mainly an EU player?
Yeah, so he plays EU all the time. He doesn't play NA very much, and if you look at his deck list, a lot of them are missing core cards. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think his Pirate Warrior has had Ankar in it, and
Ooh,
his Dark Lair has not had Tamsin. So yeah, he's really struggling with a collection issue right now. But
yeah,
he's building up more dust over the weeks, so eventually that's going to be fixed, I think.
for sure.
Yeah. I think that mad scientists, most of the people in their lineup have a 2-3 record. I think it's time for you guys to make that a 2-4 record.
Whew, let's go.
I agree. And one other thing that I wanted to bring up is that last week our team lost a very close game, and one of the main reasons for that is I was up 2-0 and I got reverse swept. My odd demon hunter got reverse swept, and I was looking at some of my stats. That is the only current deck that I've lost with. It's only odd demon hunter. I'm undefeated with Pirate Warrior, Dark Lair, Handbuff Paladin. I don't want to spoil the other deck that I'm bringing this week, but that is the only deck that I've lost with, and I decided that I'm gonna give up Odd Demon Hunter
Ah,
because
dang.
it has not been performing well.
Yeah, I like me some odd DH on ladder. It's just fast games, but yeah, it doesn't usually perform that well. In Conquest, it can definitely perform well in the right circumstances, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just so easy to get countered. That's the only
Yeah.
reason. Like on ladder, it's good, but in
Hmm.
this format, it does not perform well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're very consistent in your demon hunter play. So hearing you without the faith in the deck, um, I can also see that very few people bring demon hunter in wild. So
Yeah, yeah, the deck is slowly dying down. It kind of needs some of the old cards to get unnerfed, like Skull of Gul'dan maybe, and then it could be a good deck again. But for
Oh God,
now,
no! Please, please no, please no 5 mana skull. Like
yeah.
no.
I, I mean, because if we look at a lot of the decks that people have been bringing recently, a lot of them the games are decided by turn 5, sometimes earlier. Because if
Yeah.
you're playing Dark Lair or Hand of Paladin against one of the combo decks, if you have Loatheb on turn 5, you win. If you're against an aggro deck, if you get Giants on turn 3, you win. So
Yeah.
a lot of the games are very fast. So and the problem with Odd Demon Hunter is it's usually not getting lethal until like turn 6 or turn 7. So that's why it's not very good in my opinion. But yeah, moving on from Odd Demon Hunter slander.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just very excited for the future of Pog Merchants for the rest of the season because started off very shaky with 0-2, but we have been good since then. And once Lasagna starts winning, uh, I don't know if any team can stop us. That's just my opinion.
All right. I mean, your team's really good. I'm super excited to see how your team goes. It continues going forward. That's gonna do it for all the matches we have planned to talk about. So we're gonna move into our final section. We usually do an interview with our guests. Um, so we do have a few questions if you would want to do an interview. Before we close.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
All right. Well,
We
Geranium.
got some
Geranium
hilarious
has
questions ready.
Yeah, Geranium has most of them. I'll just ask the first one. Two-Star Mako, one of our board members, asks, "How does it feel to get a car named after you?" As the starting car of the NASCAR races, pace car.
I have heard there's a lot of things that are named after me. There is a college nearby that is named after me. It just feels good to be so famous. Everybody
Yeah,
knows
man.
my name. They don't actually have to know me to know my name, so it feels good.
Yeah, continuing along a similar line, you don't have to answer if it's too personal, but how much do you make every year in royalties from that salsa company that stole your name?
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that salsa, I actually noticed it the other day for the first time, and I bought it, and sadly, it was not very good. So I'm
Oh
Ooh,
very
no,
disappointed that I share a name with that salsa.
the cannibalism.
dang.
Okay, continuing. Your profile picture is of a very cute Hello Kitty keyboard, but it is missing the insert key. How do you build decks without the ability to autocomplete and insert cards from your collection?
Yeah, I mean, I really do wish that I had this keyboard because I don't think I would be able to lose games, just the energy that it gives off. But sadly, I don't actually own it, so sorry to disappoint everybody.
Okay. I'm also going to be inserting some other questions that I've been receiving throughout this broadcast.
All right.
So another question: pace in the there's a hit soccer game by EA Sports called FIFA, and in that there is a pace attribute. From 1 to 99, how much pace do you have?
I mean, I would say I probably have 76. Not too fast, not too slow. But speaking of that, speaking of FIFA, that's where I got my name because I used to play FIFA like 5 or 6 years ago, and I would always pick the players with the most pace, and I just started naming everything pace
Eh.
because
Mm-hmm.
it's such a cool word. Just pace, so clean.
Wow. Well, that Diamond is the one who has the pace knowledge. It looks like um, the background here. Also, is the reason you've stopped my heart so that you can be my pacemaker?
Oh
Um,
my god.
Yes, these are amazing.
I
I'll
can't
I'll
even with
pass. I'm not
this.
sure how to
We're
answer
passing on
that.
that. All right.
You're pacing on that? Okay. Uh, who is your favorite captain?
My favorite captain?
This question is
Um,
submitted by Diamond, in case you need.
my favorite captain. Let me check. It's gotta be Catharsis. He seems like he really motivates his team, and he's just a really good overall leader.
I see you taking some more steps from your opponents this week.
Diamond devastated in the chat. Not like this.
And the last question I had was actually a misguided question about your win rate and about you switching off of mage, but it seems like it's DH is actually what you are losing with. So I'm going to pull back that question. And I think that is the end of the interview.
I had one more question. I just got this from. It was up on the screen, very likely, because of things. But Bone Masher has asked a question. He has asked, playing with so much pace, do you ever get to the rope?
I actually don't know what the rope animation looks like. I usually finish my turns 3 to 4 seconds in because of
Mhm.
how fast I move.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what he's talking about. I don't know what the rope is.
You play the R hat style of Hearthstone. I see. Yeah, I mean, obviously, a huge thanks to coming on the show. We appreciate it. I love to have players who are like wild players come on and drop their knowledge because most of us here don't have as much knowledge of like exactly all the players, and so it's nice to have people who really do have an understanding of some of the players and their play styles. Um, yeah. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was really cool to be on this for the first time. Very cool experience.
Awesome.
It was our pleasure.
All right. So I'm going to quickly give we go talk about a few of the matches for the week. Thursday throwdown, we do have one match. We're gonna have actually two matches. It's gonna be a Hero Series match. First off, it's Agent PWE versus Vino Spumoni, and then 10 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have a Wild Series match. Lefty 2111 against Reverb. Friday Night Fights has an open 8 p.m. slot. And then 9 p.m. we'll have the first Battlegrounds lobby for week 2 of finals. And then 10 o'clock, Uranium Battle versus Gambler Legacy Series. Always cool to see you play on stream. Salty Saturday does not have any matches yet. If you want to be on Salty Saturday, please DM me. It'll be casting this week will be myself and Neji Boston, as Isocles will not be able to cast. So we're gonna be looking for an 8 p.m. start time match. Till 8 or 9. If you have a match, then contact me. School Zone, looks like there's no matches so far, but Saturday tends to be a wild centric. So if you are playing a wild match and would like to be on stream, contact Marty B, our NHL NJ fan. For Sunday, you can contact Lotus Knight if you want to play Sunday afternoon. And then for Sunday Showdown, we have Legacy Red Conference Sunday versus Goose, which was mentioned earlier. And then 9 p.m. will be the Battlegrounds. Final lobby of the season. That'll be Steffi and Blue Sombrero for that. And then it'll be Myanodon and Dollar Bills for the 8 o'clock match. So yeah.
All right. Seems pretty exciting.
Yeah, Vino undefeated going up at 9 p.m. Tomorrow. He's going to be very hype.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think that one's going to be it's going to be great to see what happens, but I also think Goose versus Sunday is going to be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So Dr. Fish was asking if he could have the players from his team get onto a match time, but you got to be faster than me. If you want to
Yeah,
get that match.
I have like 2 players playing at 10 p.m. And I looked up like, dang, Geranium Battle got it on Monday. That's insane. Yeah. So it's
pretty pog.
all good. Also Friday night, I won't be casting Friday night as I have my hero match then. So I'll just be Corden and Saku on Friday night fights week.
Hey.
They'll
Love
hold
those
down
guys.
they'll hold down the fort while I'm gone. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of Tavern Talk. As always, I've been Dr. Fish with JR Juggerlaw and Geranium Battle and our guest Pace. So thank you so much for watching.
Excuse me.
And we will see you all next week and tune in tomorrow night for some exciting matches. Have a good night and stay safe, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Night.